Good, Brian.
Awesome. Let's
Doing
test our
great.
mics.
Very good. How are you guys?
Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Good.
Awesome.
Uh,
Hey
Hi,
everyone, this
Brian.
is Darren Mancuso.
Hey, Darren, I can hear you. Hey, Vishal, Shane, is your mic working too still?
Yeah,
Hi,
no, I'm
Brian.
here.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome. We can definitely hear you. All right, everybody, if you're watching this live on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. And we've got Shane to take it away today as the moderator. Have fun, Shane.
Thanks so much, Brian, and welcome, panel. I guess I want to just start off by just going through and doing quick introductions. I'll go ahead and start. I'm Shane Carvalho. I'm in California. I cover the Bay Area, the Monterey Bay. Been in the business for 23 years. Been an icon for the 3 years that I've been here at EXP, and so glad I made this decision. It's the best company ever. I want to go ahead and pass on now to Vishal. Vishal.
Hi, Brian. Hi, everybody. My name is Vishal Saxena. I'm from Ontario, Canada. I'm with EXP since the last 16 months. I joined last March 2022, and uh, I'm so excited. And this year, my year started on 1st March, and I was able to cap in 28 days. And the excited thing which I would like to share is that I'm going to tap in. I'm going to have my icon hit second time in 3.5 months.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And Darren?
Hey everybody, I'm Darren Mancuso. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been with EXP since January of last year, so I'm sorry, February, so a little bit longer than Vishal. And I've icon the first time. I'm just getting ready to icon my second year in a row here, and just growing. I guess the biggest thing is we went from when we joined, we had 4 agents on our team, and now I have 11 agents on the team and 19 agents in my downline.
Wow, congratulations and welcome, Darren.
Thank you.
Ashley. Ashley, are you there? We'll come back to Ashley. She might be having some audio problems. Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Flanagan. I'm actually licensed in 3 states, so I go between Arizona, Colorado, and Nebraska. I've been with the company for I think this will be my 5th year. So I've iconed every year, so four time, and I just got my 5th icon, I believe. So it's good when you stop keeping track. Uh, but I have a very small, efficient team in Nebraska, so there's 3 of us, and then by referral, basically in Arizona and Colorado.
That's amazing. 3 states. I'm just trying to handle one.
It honestly, it's because at EXP, with being able to use the same systems in all 3 states, it really simplifies it.
Yeah, I agree. There's actually a couple agents on my team that are dual states and does work pretty seamlessly.
Yeah.
So, so welcome, Jamie. I'm going to try Ashley one more time. Ashley, are you there?
Hey, Shane, it looks like Ashley's not here right now. So if you just want to skip over her and then wait till the next person comes in.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you. All right. So I guess to kick it off, I know that we always kind of share, our stories and what we've done and what works and such. And I just like to kind of mix it up. I do get on a few of these panels, and I thought that something that comes up, for instance, myself, I've got a production team and I've got about 40 in my downline, and so in markets like these, agents come up to you and it's like there's a gap, like from a new agent to like where a lot of us are at in our careers, and it's trying to give them something tactical they could actually apply today. I just want to go through the panel right now and just ask each of you just to give maybe one simple tip for anyone in the audience to kind of, maybe launch, get a few more leads, get a little more business going, especially in this market that's been a little more challenging, especially for newer agents. I'm going to go ahead and let's start with you, Darren.
I think my biggest tip is really focusing on connections with people and letting them know what you do for a living, and then being able to have a way to transition that into getting them into your database. So if you tell somebody that you're in real estate, most of the time they're going to say, okay, well, my gosh, what's going on with the rates? What's going on with the market? What's happening next? And you say, I'm so glad that you asked me that. I do a monthly newsletter that is a market update. It'll keep you up to date on exactly what's going on in real estate. If you give me your email address, I'll send it to you. So it's a really good way to not just tell people who you are and what you're doing, but actually take control of the conversation and put them in your database so that anytime down the line when they are ready to buy or sell, you've been in contact with them for all that time.
That's actually a great tip there, and thanks for sharing. I was going to actually share that I was talking to an agent yesterday, and I was saying go make 5 new contacts a day. Do
Yep.
you guide, because you said you've grown your team? What kind of guidance do you give your team? Like, do you have a set number, or how do you handle that?
Well, it's not as structured as that, but I am having weekly meetings with everybody on the team, and every week when we have a meeting, I'm just dropping motivational things to help them. We can't just be told something one time. We have to be told things multiple times. It's not being told something, it's just being reminded. And then the more you're reminded that this is what you need to be doing, then all of a sudden I start to see them taking action. So it may not be the first time or may not be the 10th time that I tell them that this is what's going to help them succeed. But then slowly but surely they start catching on, and then the other people on the team, they go, oh, this guy's having success, so maybe I should listen to this.
I totally agree with you, and I actually I like how you said you kind of gently remind. I mean, would you say, like, for yourself, like, after doing this for a while, it becomes part of your daily habit, right? Like, you talk to people, let people know what you do. I mean, have you noticed that it seems like with newer agents, they're always like, I always tell them not to be secret agents. It's like, have you let everybody know that you're licensed? Have you? And so, yeah, I like that, and I got to be better about giving those gentle reminders. That's exactly what I was
Right.
talking about. Why I wanted to give this as a start question is exactly for the reason that as a newer agent and kind of where we're established in our careers, these things that are autopilot for us are not really things that are top of mind for newer agents. So thanks for sharing that. I'm going to go to Vishal now. Vishal, what's one tip that you would give to an agent maybe struggling in this market to build some traction?
I think most of that is already covered. But like one tip which I would like to give is like you have to stay aware about all the real estate latest trends in the market and all the statistical data. So whenever new agent comes, like the biggest challenge I face is like they come to EXP, come to me after like they have interviewed with other brokerages or other brokers or other real estate agents as well. So they come, they want to see what is different. So I like usually talk with data and I explain them with the like what's happening in the market and what are the predictions and what like gonna be in like what is the anticipation like how we anticipate the market in 5 to 6 months and what should be course of action and how I am projecting with the team members. With the old team members, like yes, we are having our weekly meetings. I have a team of 18 realtors so far. I in last 15, 16 months. And but like the main factor which helps me always is like if you talk with data and you explain them with examples, with the real life examples, they are like better convinced and motivated to do the things. Like for example, I give them data from their daily life, like what happens like if they have any concerns about real estate, uh, that okay, will the real estate market will go down, will go up. I always show them 10-year moving average data. Okay, you can see that in Canadian real estate market, it went up in last 5 years, 44%, even when we are saying that since 2022, the market is 30% down. So when they see that, that's an eye opener for them and they are more motivated. And then same thing they can convey to their clients and like potential customers who are like a little bit hitching in investing in real estate. So that thing is helping me a lot, and that's why and that's how I was able to convince to my clients and to new agents as well.
Awesome, Vishal. So basically, just to sum that up, you're positioning yourself as a market expert as far as with the data and everything, and so
Sure.
you're building that trust, especially in this market where the media and has a lot of people scared. you're coming in and just presenting to clients like, well, here's the real data, forget what you're hearing, and you're becoming like the trusted advisor. And that seems to be how you're getting your clients. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And one common question I ask to them, like always, okay, like for example, 10 years ago, when your parents have bought this house, or 15 years ago, when somebody senior in your family have bought this house, can you buy, if the real estate market is 30% down, can you go and buy the property at double the price, which the price they bought? The answer is no. It's almost like 4 or 5 times already. So there is your answer. And then I bring that data of 10-year moving average, which is 44% higher than 44% increased in last 5 years. So that, as I mentioned, that's an eye opener for them. So house pricings are always going up, especially in Canada when we have a high immigration. We have 425,000 immigrants coming every year. In last 3 years, 1.3 million people added. And let's say like there are 4 people in the family. So we don't have 450,000 houses. So there will be a scarcity of houses. So the prices or real estate, it bound to boom. If not now, in 1 year or 2 years, it bound to increase.
Thank you, Vishal. Appreciate sharing that. I'm going to go ahead and give Jamie a shot here at the same question. Jamie, did you need me to repeat the question?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm gonna go a little different route. I'm big on
Sure.
listings. And so I always think if you can figure out a way to add value. So even as a brand new agent, if you've never taken a listing and, calling on a for sale by owner or an expired listing, but really figuring out like not just going in there with your with a regular listing presentation, but figuring out how to solve their actual problem. So, I do a lot of for sale by owner work, or I used to, and really understanding their motivation to move, their motivation to sell their property, but then creating a timeline based on statistics. So I love, Vishal, like how you have all that data. That's kind of what we utilize is like, okay, so, statistically, your neighborhood, the best time to sell this property is January or June. And I'm talking to them in May. So then I give them a specific date and I use previous data on it. And no other agent usually has provided that. And then we also have furnished rentals so people can move into something if, they're in between housing. So they don't, honestly, most of them don't take advantage of it. But the idea of not having to deal with that if they sold their house and didn't have a place to go is a really great opportunity. And if you don't have a furnished rental, you can definitely find resources in your market just to have a list of like, I've got these handful of properties with either agents at my company or, just that you found on your own. But adding those layers of value that other agents aren't providing. And I really think creating a timeline for the listing has been key to my success. And then having, and when I say timeline, even like the contractor. So, if you might recommend updating the bathroom a little bit, but then connecting them with a contractor and coordinating that work goes a long way. And I hear agents all the time say, I can't believe how much you do, but it's the opposite because I get kind of control over the timeline and I'm not reliant on the seller anymore. So in my opinion, it actually creates less work. So that's how and then every listing should provide you a buyer lead. And if you do things like a nosy neighbor, it should provide you with a seller lead. So if you can get 12 listings in a year, my thoughts are that you can actually get 36 sales off of 12 listings.
I love that. It's interesting. I guess I'll just share really quick on my thing. So I'm big on listings as well. I'm about 80-20 listing buyers, and I'm what I consider myself a full service listing agent, just like yourself. And I love what you said as far as adding value and being the solution. And I love how, you remind people that when you're taking over who the contractors are that come in and like we stage our own listings and everything else, you do take control of the timeline and you take control of the quality and of just the sequence and getting things done. If you put that, at the mercy of, the clients, that could drag on forever. They can get bad contractors, have a bad experience, things could get done poorly. And so, yeah, I'd love to connect with you after and exchange some notes. It seems like we have a similar business structure, and I love that. I do want to ask you one question. You did mention for sale by owners, just to give a tip out there, because lately, with some of my newer agents, they've been looking for, free leads. And, I told them like Zillow for sale by owner listings is a good way. Do you have a tip for sale by owners for anybody that wants to pursue that?
As far as like getting the appointment?
getting the data, like where to go get the leads.
Oh, my virtual assistant, I have a VA through Sphere Rocket, and she actually goes and pulls them from Zillow still. So
Okay, so you would say Zillow is number one as well.
I still think, yeah, she creates this. Here's one thing that I think is really cool. She creates a spreadsheet. So even if they take their house off the market, we still have that data. So I think, keeping that data in somewhere so you can follow up with them 3 months down the road. Cause I found that that's where a lot of our leads are coming from. Cause I've even talked to other agents in our market calling for sub owners. They're like, but they sell so fast. And I'm like, but the ones that don't, take it off Zillow and you're not calling them anymore, whereas our team is. So I think that's
That's actually a great tip. That's because we call like expires and cancels. We'll go back and call stuff from 90 days. When people are, people get hammered for so long right up front. That makes sense. I never thought about that for sale by owner. So I'll take that tip into account as well. So
awesome. Yes.
Thanks for sharing that.
How it
Appreciate
goes.
that. Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I guess moving on, I know that just talking to, it sounds like, and maybe you guys can all chime in at once here, but do you all have production teams? Because it sounds like Darren, you have a production team. Vishal, it sounds like you have a production team. Jamie, do you have a production team?
Yes.
I have two agents. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And so let's just run down the line really quick here. So Vishal, are you like actively then in production still, and are you more focused on production, or are you focused on growth as well?
I'm like 60-40, 60% more focused on production and 40% on growth. Like I joined in last March 2022, and today I have 18 agents in my downline.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. But I am into production as well. Like for example, in 2021, I had 113 houses bought, sold, or leased. In 2022, it was 77, and this year alone, I have around 56. So I am on track. So I am both in production as well as in growth. And this year, almost every 2 weeks, we are adding one agent to EXP and guiding them, mentoring them, and nurturing them, and bringing them up to the level. I can tell you, one of my agent, he joined on January 1st, and currently he's on his 37th transaction in 6.5 months. He's doing
That's
really,
incredible.
yeah.
Can you give me and I'm gonna kind of pass this question around, but on the agent like attraction, can you give us one tip on what works for you on attracting agents to EXP? Can you give me maybe one of your quick tips on what you're doing?
Like we are having one seminar every month in our office, and in which like we have like a fixed set, and we first explain like 20 minutes EXP model explain, in which we invite like the new agents as well as our whole team is there as well. And then we have one value added topic, like for example, lead generation through social media, how to generate 6-figure income using YouTube in real estate, like those kind of topics in which we show how to make reels. So these are the things, like social media is very important in real estate. So I'm teaching these to agents, and plus we are getting so much help from our upline from Toronto. So they come every month and they teach one value added topic, and they show practically, like for example, how to create reels or how to create short videos, and what are the topics, and how to schedule the content, how to automate the content. So those are the things. And so some of the agents who came and later on they joined, at least like 6 of them, they joined after attending those seminars. Plus I have one-on-one conversations with my team members. I schedule them every week. I sit with one team member and I listen to their problems, and I point out some of the weakness, and I try to work with them and provide them solutions. Like the things which work for me, I explain them that, okay, if you do this, maybe this will work for you as well. And so far it's working very well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Darren, are you actively producing or just running your production team?
I just run the production team at this point. It's been a couple years since I've been in production, so.
And what's your balance?
What's the balance? I'm 100% on growth right now. I'm not in production.
Awesome. Okay. And I didn't mean to step on you there. Sorry. And
that's
what's
okay.
what's your strategy for growth?
So I have a couple. I mean, I'm not really super aggressive. I'm
Mhm.
just out there uh, because over the last 10 years, I've really had my head down and I haven't made a lot of effort with networking and actually meeting the people in our business. I've just really made myself available. I've been going to a lot of events. I've been going to places and people see me and they know who I am and they're like, "Oh, Darren Mancuso." And it's like we've never met though, never. So I'm just kind of getting out there and talking to people and telling them about the success and let them ask the questions. And then, basically I follow up with them the next day and I say, "Hey, it was really great to finally meet you and go have a cup of coffee." Or usually it's their idea. They're like, "Oh, let's grab a cup of coffee." Okay, yeah, let's do it. So, and but I also feel like the work that I put in 6 months ago is paying off now because all the people that I met with and had coffee with 6 months ago, and this is the same for people that are buyers or sellers too. It's like not everybody's ready to buy or sell real estate today, so you got to be in it the long haul for the relationship. And a lot of the agents, as a matter of fact, I had a meeting this morning. It's someone that I met a year and a half ago, and they said, and they got cold feet, and now they're calling me back saying, "Hey, I think we should get together again." So,
That's awesome. I'm actually similar to your approach as well. Like I'm not a pressure person, and I mean I love when they reach out to you. Like what you just said. I was like I smiled when you said that because I was like, yeah, I love when they reach back out to you or they're the ones asking the questions, and
yep.
that's my style as well. And I'm not aggressive, so yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
And how about you, Jamie?
So I am probably 50-50. I'm percent growth, 50% production. I have a really hard time because I want to be 100% growth, but I always fall back into production. So I'd love, Darren, I'd love to connect with you more and just get some feedback on how you continue to
Sure.
stay in
You
growth mode.
you could teach me some stuff about production, and I'll help you with some attraction stuff, and
Yeah,
we'll try each other's stuff out.
love it.
So I actually have I think 36 or 37 agents in my downline, and but I've always been a production person. And when I came to EXP, 3 years ago, I was solely coming over because I wanted the better split, and I heard about the stock awards and the icon program, and so I came over and was really heavy on production. And then the last 6 7 months, I've been really interested in building my downline, building the residual income, but at the same time, because I love helping agents be successful. And so already having a production team, it just seemed like it'd go hand in hand to try and grow. But I'm with you there, Jamie, on I'm still 100% in production. I'm the top producer in my organization, and it's just I love it, and I've built a great book of business, and I'm not ready to get out. I have a support team that takes the transactions. I'm still the front guy who leads and is with the clients and everything, and then I have everybody kind of doing the work that's on my team. But I do have a hard time trying to balance for that agent attraction. And so for me, just like you, Darren, except you're doing it a lot more effectively. I'll have conversations here and there and plant seeds, and then like the people that are coming in are usually people that are reaching back out to me. I don't really have anything consistent, any kind of campaign or anything established. So
Can I
and
can I add something real quick, Shane?
sure,
Um,
sure.
I think the reason why it's so difficult is because if you look at your effort, you've got 100% effort to put towards this. Um, Most people are drawn towards putting most of their effort towards earning money, and you're chasing the money, and that money always has to be chased this year, next year, the year after. And then when you say, okay, let me carve out 10% of my time to start building something that's going to come in every month, it's really hard to stay focused on that because you don't see the results for that for sometimes 12 months. And but if I could rewind time, I'm 50 years old now. I want to maximize the next five years or so, and say if I could rewind time though, I would say I wish I would have carved out maybe 20 or 30% of my time. And you're sacrificing on the bottom line though, for sure. like when you look at your bottom line at the end of the year, you have to be willing to know that you're going to make less money because you're focusing on something that's the gratification is more long term later. And that's why I think it's so hard. And when I have my meetings with my team every week, I'm reminding them about stuff that they're supposed to be doing, but I also have to plug into people every week who are reminding me of why I'm doing things. And then when I say, "Oh, I'm going to skip the meeting this week. I don't need another reminder this week." But then I end up going and I go, "Oh gosh, thank God. Thankfully I went to the meeting because you need it." And everybody out in the audience here, if you're not plugging into something every week that's helping you stay on track and helping you focus on the things that are important to you so that you hit your goals, so you can do it. It's just a lot harder. It's much harder.
You know,
Yeah, I
Darren,
couldn't agree more with that.
yeah, and I was gonna say, yeah, thanks, Jamie. I was gonna say, Darren, that's that dance though, right? Like I hear you. It's like we're programmed for instant gratification. I do understand the benefit of the residual income. I mean, I'm kind of running the same pace as you. I'm 48, so it's been, a good long career, but it's, I'd like to next 5 years really be super effective. And obviously residual income is something that's valuable to me at this stage of my career. And so I understand like that kind of that dance between putting in the time and building that, and then, kind of backing off the production a little bit. And I get that it takes a while to get that residual, but you see how it's kind of that transition part, is a little delicate, I guess. And hopefully for anyone that struggles with that, they'll find their way. I know that I'm working on finding my way through that, but I think that's been the bigger struggle for me personally. Um, so I just got word that we have an icon that joined us last minute that's actually on stage. So I wanted to pop over to Sid Smith. And Sid, if you want to introduce yourself, what market you're in, how long you've been in the business, how long you've been icon, or how many times you've icon, love to hear from you.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Thanks so much for having us. So we're a husband and wife team. So, and we've been with EXP for 2 years now. I've been in the business for 4 years now, and we became Icon. We missed our first year by $800,
Oof.
and we tried so hard. We had one closing delay, but we did make Icon and last year, and we are like just a few transactions away from hitting it again. And I'm just so grateful for EXP because we've actually doubled our production since we joined EXP.
Wow. Congratulations on that. So can you give us some insight? Do you have a team? Are you growing your downline? Can you give me shed some
Yes,
light on
and
that?
I'm sorry, we cover Portland, Oregon, and we cover a lot of beachfront properties in Oregon and Washington. That's kind of like our niche.
Okay.
So yeah, it's me and my wife, and we have an assistant, and we did $20 million last year, and but we work really hard, and we do a lot of networking. We get mostly referrals. We don't spend anything on advertising, but we just treat people fair and honest, and it really is starting to pay off. And I call clients often and just be a resource for them, be a help for them, and they call me back a year later and say, "Hey, my cousin, my brother, you helped me so much, thank you, and here they need to buy or sell."
So I love the whole taking care of clients and building those relationships, because that's what my business is built on. And so I totally respect that. I do have an additional question. So you and your wife, you have an assistant. Are you trying to build your organization? Are you trying to build a production team, or is this kind of how you're set up?
I am now focusing a lot more of my energy on building. Our first 2 years, we wanted to prove it out to everybody that, hey, number one, we can hit Icon. We were good producers before. And also at the same time, it was a lot of work we were very motivated to hit that Icon. And so now I'm spending about probably 20-30% of my time focusing on building, and I'm going to build, which is going to really radically, change our trajectory. And I'm just really excited about it.
Are you taking some guests to build?
I tried, I could not get one. They had a conflict to schedule.
And I'm just curious, because I've seen people There's a couple of top agents in our group that actually went to build last summer. They signed up right away. So you just touched on something we'll touch on a little bit on how these events are a great way to attract agents. So well, thank you and welcome. So actually, going on to kind of the next segment, we're just curious to check in with each of you and just see what your number one source of business is. I'm always curious to hear, what my fellow icons are doing that's really working. Jamie, I'm going to start with you. What would you say is your number one source of business?
Gosh, it's hard because we track everything pretty well. I do a lot of Facebook, but it's more referral through Facebook, just people seeing me on a regular basis, and then I'd say referrals, and then the remaining would be like outbound calls for sell by owners.
Would you say you're relationship based or are you more transactional?
Oh, definitely relationship based. That's where for me, Facebook is huge. I do a lot of Facebook Live. Video is huge. I will say, like, YouTube is really powerful because I feel like I don't get any views, but I'll go on a listing appointment and they'll be like, "Oh, I watched your video on this," and it's always weird to me because I'm like, that video only has like 15 views, but I'll hear that people have seen it a lot. So I find, don't focus on what people, what the stats always say on your end. It's like people are seeing you, and that builds the relationship. And it's funny because the more that you're active on doing the video on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, people get to know you. That's how you build the relationship now.
That's so true. And I just wanted to add to that. You just reminded me of something. I have a listing I just got recently that I guess I never noticed that these people were following me on Instagram or paying attention. But it was interesting. I had this listing. They're like, "Yeah, we knew that when we'd sell our house there, you'd be our guy. We've been watching you for a long time on Instagram." And I was just like, because I mean, that's reassuring for someone like me because I don't get a ton of business off of the social media platforms. But it's just like, a lot of us want that instant gratification, like with whatever we do, right? And so that built a little more confidence, that people are watching. But good for you for doing Facebook Live. I don't really have the guts to go live.
It's easy once you do it a couple times. It's hard at first.
It's funny because I'd rather talk in front of 5,000 people than get on live. I gotta get over that fear. Thanks so much for sharing that. And Darren, how about yourself?
I would double down on social media. We've been fairly active on that. I mean, we have close to 50,000 followers now on our social media.
Wow.
And it is very true that people are watching, and they're watching. And we get so many of our people, they go to our social media, but then they go to our website and they click contact us, and we have a little drop down that says, "How'd you hear about us?" Most of the time it's social media. We just recently added another drop down that said yard sign, because we have 18 yard signs out right now. And the word is, the messaging that we're getting back from people is that we're everywhere. And, they see our signs, and then they see us on social media, and then they see us. We just try to be everywhere. And every time that we grow, we increase our spending in some medium, somewhere, so that we can just be everywhere, and we're building the brand so that the more comfortable people get with our brand, which is Mancuso Homes, and EXP Realty, the more they're going to think about us when they need our services.
I love that. What's the number one, like what's the top platform on social media that you're leveraging?
Right now, Instagram, I would say we have the most followers by far. We have, I think it's 42,000. But yet, Facebook is still very powerful depending on what your demographic is and who you're trying to work with. So I'm also a custom home builder. I got my experience by flipping houses since 2006. And then I needed to get my real estate license to kind of it was a side hustle. It was a complete side hustle. I was like, yeah, I'll get my real estate license so I could support my investing habit. And from that point, it no longer was a side hustle. And I was like, okay, we need to pay attention to this. And that's when we started building the team, and we started taking the leads that were coming in from the social media and just giving them to people on the team. And that was our lead magnet to attract agents to come to the team, was the leads and the leadership and the support. And so,
You know, Darren, I was just gonna say, and thanks for sharing all that, and congrats on such a large following on Instagram. I'm
you,
working on. I've been working on it. It just takes time.
yeah,
But I was gonna share though that you touched on something. I was laughing. You seem to be more efficient with your time than me. So I'm actually still a licensed general contractor, and
okay,
I was also a mortgage broker at the beginning of my career. I also have my real estate my California broker's license. So I'm an
yeah,
associate broker at EXP. So it's I've always been Mr. Overachiever because I love the business so much. And so it's like I kind of ventured off, like I have Airbnbs, I have a
yep.
flipping business, I own a home and gift store. Yeah, I just, it's way, I mean, I'll have to connect with you after. I'd love to hear how
Yeah.
you manage your schedule because clearly you're a little more efficient with your time because that's one
The,
of my tough spots is, you know, trying to do good in all sectors, right? Like if you get
right.
yourself spread too thin. So, but I love how one thing led to another. So, what is your like? What's your absolute favorite thing to do in this business? Like, what's your like? What do you love the most?
I feel like being more in a leadership role than a doer is where you are going to make the most progress. So you mentioned a lot of businesses. You're like, you said, I'm in Airbnb and I'm in this and I own that whole list of stuff that you're doing. And my guess is that a lot of that for most people falls, including myself, like we did everything in our business. I was the licensed real estate agent. I designed all the houses. I found the houses. I purchased them. I managed all the construction. I listed the houses. My wife did the social media. We did everything. And the minute we started to, it's a very big step, but you're like, you know what, let's just get an assistant. And you get those butterflies in your stomach. You're like, damn, what are we going to make this person do? Do we have enough things to keep them busy? And I think the minute you start to get over that mental limitation in your head that you need other people to do the things to run your business, and you get out of the way slowly but surely and you replace yourself, the minute you can do that, then you're going to set yourself free. And then that's how you're able to open up your schedules, because I have a lot of things that are going on, but I'm not the person responsible for ultimately doing the work.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
that's the key. That's the
Yeah,
key. And so, yeah. And it
well,
is hard. It's hard to get up the control, and it's hard to spend, in your mind, you're spending money. You're like, oh my gosh, I make X number of dollars per year and I'm going to give up this money to somebody else. But you don't see the value yet until you replace yourself. And most of the time, when you get so busy, you can't pay attention to your social media as well as someone else, and you can't pay attention to your bookkeeping, and you can't pay attention to running buyers, and you spread yourself too thin. And then if you just hire somebody that specializes in that one thing, that's the thing, is you have to hire the right person for every position. Then you set yourself free and you excel. you
yeah.
you you explode.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I guess well, while we're at it, are you like I've built a support staff. I currently don't have any VAs on my team. A couple of my agents have VAs, but on your supporting cast, have you hired any VAs, or are you hiring mainly local people?
I've hired two VAs. One quit on me in the first couple months. She was actually very good. I wish she would have stayed. And then I hired another one, and I had to let her go a couple weeks ago just because she was making too many mistakes. And so I've had much, much more luck paying more money and getting local people to do the work, and really finding good quality people. Not 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 so much worried about how much money are they going to cost. I'm more worried about who can I get that's going to help level us up to the next level. So,
I love that. I love that. I'm so customer service focused
yep.
that I don't care if I got to pay 4 times as much, 5 times as much.
Yeah.
That I love that we're on the same page there because I think it's important at the end of the day. Like, there's nothing wrong with VAs, and like one of my my right hand guy on my team, he's got this great VA he hired, that does a lot of his marketing stuff. So there are definitely great VAs. So I'm not knocking that at all. I was
Yeah.
just curious more like your style, and so that was more the question. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I'm going to roll over to, and I saw we had a question from the audience, but I'm going to sneak in an answer here from Sid on this same topic. What is your number one lead source? And then we'll answer the question from the audience.
We get a lot of referrals from other agents that send their business our way because we handle in Washington, which is right across the river from Portland. So we get a ton of referrals there, and Ojo is a big referral source for us.
Can you repeat what the referral source was? I didn't catch that.
Ojo Labs.
I'm not familiar. Can you, just for those of us that might not be familiar?
Yeah,
What it-
Ojo's it's an invite only kind of a thing, but it's a lab kind of like a Opcity, if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where they have live transfers, and that's actually worked out pretty well for us.
Can you spell that out for those that might be interested in taking a look into that?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to get into. They're very limited, and it's kind of hit or miss. But it's Ojo, OJO,
Uh-huh.
and I believe it's Labs. I just call them Ojo. You
Okay.
have to be invited, and there's like some team programs, but we got invited, and also it's because of EXP. One of our mentors in EXP, Nate Butcher down in California, he referred us across to that, and that's how we were able to get into that. That's really helped us.
Awesome. And yeah, and then myself, I basically, my business is, like referral repeat. I really nurture my database, and so my number one, 90% of my business comes from repeat and referral clients, and I'm a real big fan of that. I want to go ahead and reach out and respond. I have Jordan Kennard said, I'm a familiar face in a specific city in my state. I feel like things will become overwhelming. So what will be a way to have the incoming traffic move smoothly? How should I attack this head on? Jamie, did you want to take a swing at that one?
Yeah, can you, sorry, repeat that?
It's in the public comments.
Oh,
If you want to look at it. I am a familiar face in a specific city in my state. I feel like things will become overwhelming. So what will be a way to have the incoming traffic move smoothly? How should I attack this head on?
oh, so funny. I actually did Krista Mayshore's marketing coaching a couple years back and went through that exact thing. But you have to, getting like your link tree set up on Instagram where everything that you provide is easy for people to click on, and then having a business card with like a QR code. And just like Darren said earlier, like really having it where they can, smoothly go from Instagram to your website and plug and play to connect with you, I think is the best way. And then obviously staying consistent with it, because if you're a familiar face, you want to keep that up. So, but I use Linktree. So depending on what our focus is for the team, depending on if I'm, we own a lot of rentals, so sometimes it'll be more like we're buying inventory or we're selling inventory, and so I'll change my Linktree according to what our motives are for the team.
I like that, and I like Linktree as a resource. And it's funny, Jamie, because I I learned that after the fact, after I kept getting bombarded for the same forums. Finally, my assistant's like, let's just put that on your Linktree, and it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, I can also, I guess, attack that question with one thing that I have that I send out to new clients is, because I'm so big on nurturing the database and the way I kind of run my business is I created a survey, which I actually have the link in my Instagram bio if anybody here wants it. But it's called the All About You form. And I got this when I coached with the core. I kind of modified form that I learned through that coaching program. And basically it tells me everything I need to know about my client, so that, I know when their birthday is, I know where they like to eat, what kind of coffee, who their sports team is, if they have a dog. So I just really get to know my clients intimately. So I think that if you're in a situation where you're getting bombarded, it's also going to be hard to remember everybody's story. So it's like, I'm good about putting notes. Like when I talk to somebody, I'll go into contact and I'll put notes down. It's a Google contact, or on your phone contacts, there's a place for notes. I'll go and put notes about specific things about them, what they're looking for, just whatever. But then that form is an additional way for me to organize them. And also, at the end of the day, like, be overwhelmed by incoming traffic. Like, that's such a blessing. So, if it is a little stressful, just know that in the end, it's a good thing. And if you're leveraging, some of these tools to kind of ease the direct load on your phone or your text, then you're doing the best thing you can. And also being realistic, setting people's expectations. Like, I always want to be, Johnny on the spot and like answer everybody like this minute, but be realistic when you're getting hammered by a lot of people, and just be like, look, I can promise to get back to you within 48 hours, 72 hours. For me, it's like, oh yeah, I'll get back to you in like 10 minutes or whatever, right? But it's like, be realistic with the expectations you set on getting back to people. That's my thought. So, Vishal or Sid, do you want to comment on this question?
Like normally, how do I handle, like, if I have incoming traffic? Like, I normally divert it to my team. Like, for example, I'm assuming like that incoming traffic, they have some questions regarding their like evaluation of home, or they are about like if somebody's buying want property, or if they have any questions. Like, if there is too much incoming traffic, I normally take it up with the team member and then hand it over as a lead to the team member, and then they take over from there. So in this way, like, they got some job, some work to do, and they got some lead, and potentially that can get matured. And that's how I keep them motivated and keep them busy as well. And they got some exposure. Wherever they need help, they ask me and I work with them. That's how I handle them.
Thank you, Vishal. Sid, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, when we have an inbound lead, especially like an internet lead, what we really do is I try to call them as fast as possible and just build rapport, try to build relationship, try to just really serve them well. A lot of times they don't know what they're looking for, but then through that you build relationship, and then they end up, buying and or selling to you. I got one lead that turned into $10 million worth of business, and just by that client was so impressed how well I treated her that she referred me to her ex-husband, and we're selling all of his properties. And it's just because of that I responded quickly and served the client well.
That's awesome. Thanks, Sid. So, all right, guys. Well, we're kind of winding down here in our final 10 minutes or so, and I just thought that maybe we could dive into, you know, some of the topics that get neglected because everybody's always in such a hurry to figure out, like, what's the social media or what's the lead source or whatever. But I always like to address things like health, for instance. Like, do you have a morning routine? Is there something that you do? Like, do you disconnect? You take time for yourself? I just kind of like to go down the line and just kind of get a sense of what each of you do to kind of bring that balance to your life. Vishal, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Can you please repeat it?
Yeah. So do you have like a morning routine? Do you meditate? Like, what's one thing you do besides, sell real estate that, helps you bring balance to your life?
Yeah, in the morning, like, I usually have like through KV Core, like they have 10 calls. So I like religiously does those 10 calls to call the leads. So those leads who just like recently visited my ads or recently visited to my website. So I call them, and normally like the conversion rate is 20%. 20% of them, they automatically connected, and like I start working with them, and I divide them among my team members. Like, first, I'll give them to the top performers, like with whom the possibility of conversion of them is more. And then, like, I do this between 9 to 10, and 10 to 12, I work on any paperwork which is pending or any showings which I have to book for the evening, because I have WhatsApp groups for each client. So I check those WhatsApp groups, and whatever the request comes from them, from like, I want to see this, I want to see this, can you send me comparable for this? I work on those till noon or 1 o'clock. At 1:30, I go to my office and I start working from there, because I have two persons working over there working for me, and I assign them work. And usually 3:30 to 4 o'clock my showing starts, which goes up to 7:30 to 8. That's how my day goes.
Thank you, Vishal. And how about you, Darren?
I would say my routine has changed a lot over the years. In the beginning, I feel like I was more motivated to check things off of a list, and I was focused on what can I accomplish this week that's going to move the needle the most. And I had a big list of stuff, a huge list, and I could never get through it, which would drive most people nuts because, like, for example, my wife, if she's got a list of stuff to do and she doesn't get through it, it's like she'll keep working until the whole thing's done. But um that's how I used to be motivated and driven, and I tracked my progress based on like checking things off the list and what's going to move the needle the most this week. And at the end of the week I would look at that and say, okay, did I have a good week, or or not? Did I move the needle? And it's not just being busy though. It's like what have I done this week that moved the needle? And but now for me, I know this has taken a long time to get to where I'm at, but I basically have 5 or 6 meetings a week. So I get up in the mornings, my mornings are mine. I go to the gym, or most recently in January I started doing hot yoga because I'm getting older, and I'm like I don't need to do CrossFit. Like it doesn't matter how much weight I could bench press. I just need to be able to turn my neck so I can look in the rearview mirror. So I keep the mornings to myself, and then I have Tuesdays, I have my team meeting with my real estate agents. Wednesday, I have a sales meeting with my construction company. Thursday, I have a meeting with my production team, which is out doing all the construction. And then I have a marketing meeting either on Tuesday or Monday. And that's pretty much my week. The rest of the time is utilized on forecasting the future, what's coming down the pipe, meeting with other agents, going to events, having coffee with agents, those types of things. So that's what my week looks like now, but that's completely different from where I was, just a couple years ago.
Thanks for sharing that, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pause on going through the panel because we did get another question. I want to make sure we can answer the question before we run out of time. Monica Sendejas just asked, would you recommend a separate account on socials for real estate? For example, Instagram, one for business and one for personal.
I
Also,
don't
as
think
far as,
so.
okay, and then
Oh,
also as far as, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'll let you finish the question, but I got excited there.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead and you can answer that. And we'll all
Yeah,
take a stab at that. Go ahead.
I'll take a quick. My thought is that in your sphere and the people that you know, and the people they want to know your posts are not just going to be all about business. They're going to be your personal posts, and they're going to be your work posts are all going to be mixed up together. And you're going to find that people are going to engage more on a picture of you and your dog than they are of you with, talking about business. That's the way I found it to be. I get a lot more engagements with a picture of me and my daughter or me and my wife than a picture of a house or a just listed or whatever. So I feel like if you separate those things out, you're going to hurt yourself. Um, I feel like it all needs to kind of go together.
I agree, and I was just gonna add that, I do have a personal that I hardly use, but what I tell people is that all your social media accounts need to be open to the public. And so if you have very personal things you don't want to share, or if you have inappropriate things that probably shouldn't be out in public, then have a little personal one that's just, you need to get invited or approved. Everything else should be open to the public. And I think like what you're sharing, and I learned this, is that, people want to get to know you because nowadays people do business with people they like. It's no longer like how many top producer awards do you have, or how many degrees do you have, or you know what I mean? It's no longer based on just the accomplishments. It's people building relationships and working with people that they like, and they can't get to know you if all you do is post about business. And I learned that myself, that I never wanted to show my personality, and I think you need to show your personality. So I agree with you, Darren, that you should have one main account that you do everything on. And if you want to have something for just family or circle of friends, things that probably shouldn't be out there, then that's fine as well. The second part of that question is, as far as websites, do you all have a separate website from EXP? I can address that really quick, and then I'll pass it along. But so website, currently I have my my domain name that I own. Everybody should own their domain names, by the way. But I have, and I do have more than one, but I have it pointed to the KV Core website. I did have another company I was using, but I was just having a lot of bugs and it kept going down. And so I do plan on going to their website platform. We're in transition right now. And so you can use the KV Core one, which is great. If you want something that's ultra customizable, then obviously you're going to want to, get connected with maybe a different platform. But this works, especially if you don't want to invest all the money and energy. Make sure you own your own domain name and point it here. Darren, did you want to talk about the website, or should I just pass it on down to Jamie?
What specifically is the question related to the website? I'm sorry.
As far as websites, do you have a separate website from EXP?
I do. It's mancusohomes.com. You guys want to check it out?
She's referring to the platform, like, because I own my domain name as well. She's referring to like.
Oh, I understand. Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a custom built website that was built. It was built for my custom home building company, but I also have a tab on there that says buy or sell with us. And so if you click on that, you'll see all the agent information, contact us, all that stuff. We are building a separate KV Core website right now that all the agents will have their own website as well. So that just isn't up and running at the moment, but we've operated up until now without it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Darren. And Jamie, did you want to address the first part on separate account for socials for real estate, and then also the website question?
I have separate, but that's because I do a lot of Facebook and Instagram ads. So even though my business accounts don't have necessarily, like, I know Facebook, we've got like 1,000 followers. Instagram's pretty weak, but for me to run ads effectively, you have to have a business account. So that's why I have it set up that way. But I get way more engagement on my personal, and I end up posting and converting more from my personal accounts from an organic standpoint.
Got it. And what about websites? Do you use the KV Core website, or do you have your own?
I use the KV Core website. We've actually gone away from it, and then it was kind of a disaster. So then we're back to it. And
Oh, sounds like me.
Yep, exactly.
I'm back.
So KV, it's like, sometimes we overcomplicate things, I think, and we think we need to do more. And then it's
Right,
like, no,
I
we have all
agree.
the tools we need. Let's let what's working work, and then focus on what we can improve on.
And Sid, would you like to tackle these two questions?
Yeah, on the social media, I have my own, it's a personal account that I do business, but when I'm doing that, I add value. Like I do property tours, and I just try to be a resource, and I do like neighborhood tours of like, hey, here's a cool thing about this area, that makes it great if you want to consider it. And yeah, so that's how I do on that. As far as my website, we use KV Core. We have the team add-on, and they have the vanity domain. So we have our domain name that looks that it goes to the KV Core, and then each agent has their own separate website from the KV Core add-on.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And how about you, Vishal? Do you use the KV Core website, or do you have a separate website?
I have a separate website. I do use Zapier to get connected my KV Core website as well as my personal website to transfer the leads to KV Core. But I have my own website, teamvishal.ca, which I use which I advertise, and that website is on all of my agents' cards as well, which are in my downline. So uh, but I have my business accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and I have my account on TikTok, and I use those to advertise and to boost posts, because for that you have to have business accounts. But I believe because somebody from audience have asked a question that whether they should have separate accounts, personal and business. I believe that yes, we have to have business separate accounts at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all these social media platforms, because some of the things uh, so that you can have some control that what you want and what you don't want to show to general public. Uh, and yes, I do have separate accounts for all these three things, and I have my own website which I use to generate leads.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And guys, we're gonna have to wrap up. I know we kind of got to the end. It's been such a great conversation, and really appreciate you all being here and sharing. And I'm sure we could just talk all day. You know, for those of you, like, I know I'm gonna connect with you guys on social media. I'm gonna follow all of you. I don't
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
but yeah, for anyone also watching or listening today, if you want to connect, you could always message us here to get our handles, or you know, you can find us pretty easily online. But you know, as far as myself, if anyone has any questions or would like any further information, please do reach out. I'm always happy to share. I mean, I'm open. Everything I have is for free and available to all. So please reach out. And I also, you know, I don't want to speak for the rest of the panel, but if anyone wants to share, please go ahead and unmic yourself or unmute yourself.
Yeah, I do want to say the funny thing is, I do the real estate postings on social media, right, at property tours. The most trending post I ever had was when I took a photo of my dog in my car and said I was showing houses and I was showing the dog.
That is so funny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
100%. Which is crazy because we work so hard on those other posts. We're like, oh man, this is for sure gonna get them. Man, this one's gonna get so. Look at this thing. This is gorgeous. And we spend, we hire videographers and editors and spend thousands of dollars on some of these videos for our construction company because we build high end homes, and so we're like, okay, we need polished videos. And then, I do a little video myself and I like grab a piece of scrap paper and I start writing on it, like the difference between negotiating $10,000 off on a home versus negotiating $10,000 towards buying your rate down. And that thing gets, 15,000 views in a couple hours. And so it's not always, it is a little difficult, but you have to pay attention to what's getting the results and double down on that.
I totally agree. And anybody else want to share anything before we wrap it up? All right,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think incremental improvement. I just wake up every day and I try to improve, and I try to figure out what can I do to move the needle. And for me now, the cool thing is it's a little bit different. It's more about how do I help other people to get better. So it's a different skill set, and you have to be more patient with that because you don't have as much control over other people as you do yourself. You can keep on increasing your own production and working harder and spending more time and focusing, and getting other people to do it is a different challenge, and it's a different skill set. And so, but once you can take your foot off the gas a little bit and not worry so much about your bottom line and try to help somebody else build their bottom line, you're gonna set yourself free and actually make more money than you could ever make yourself.
Great, thank you, Darren. All right, guys, and thank you, Brian. Always great at running this thing, and appreciate you. And thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
See you on the next conversations.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you all for coming. Just remember, we're here every week after the big agent meeting at 8:45 a.m.